Welcome back. Now that we've got a notebook which creates the aggregates as we need, the next thing is to add this notebook to a pipeline so that it runs on a schedule. The integration between the Spark pool and the Synapse pipelines is seamless. You've got a couple of options to create the pipeline for this notebook. As with everything within Synapse, you've got a shortcut. So as you can see on the top right-hand side, you've got the Add to Pipeline button, so you've got two options. One, you can add this notebook to an existing pipeline, or you can add to a new pipeline. Let's click on the new pipeline, and that gives you a pipeline here. So you've got the notebook activity, and it's got the notebook being selected here as well. So you can add the Spark pool and change the pipeline name and things like that and run it. So that's one option. Or the other option is to go and create a pipeline from scratch. That's what we are going to do so that we learn everything from scratch rather than relying on the shortcuts. So let me close this and you come over to the Integrate button, and then, as we did before, we can create a pipeline. So I'm going to create a new pipeline. If you're in a production scenario, you might want to add to the other gold pipeline we've got there. But I'm going to create a new pipeline so that I can show you the execution of that separately without affecting everything we've done so far. So let me give it a name for this. So now we need to add the activity to invoke the notebook. If you open up the Synapse section here under Activities, you will see a notebook. And that's the activity we want. That is under the Notebook activity, which is under the Databricks section, but that is for the Databricks notebook. So don't get confused. We need the notebook under the Synapse section, so bring that in. And let's leave the rest of the information here as default, and let's move on to Settings, and we need to select the notebook. So if I click on the drop-down, I'll see the notebooks available within the Synapse workspace. So I want to run these Spark Create Gold Data Green Ag. So that's the one we want to do. If you want to open up the notebook, you can just click on that. And then that opens up the notebook here because everything is within this one studio. The experience is quite seamless. And now we need to select the Spark pool. So we've got only one Spark pool. So let's pick this Spark pool here. It doesn't have any parameters being passed in. But if there are parameters to be passed in, you can just add them here as well. So that's everything we need to do. When you click on the debug, it's just going to invoke the notebook, and when it does that, it's going to start the Spark pool as well because our Spark pool is now being terminated. So let's just debug. And it's running now, but it'll take a few minutes. That's because it needs to spin up the Spark cluster and then execute the notebook. The execution of the pipeline has completed, and it took about 5 minutes. So let's have a look at the details. There'll be not much in the input. It's just the notebook name. Let's look at the outputs, and there should be a bit more information. As you can see, it tells you the name of the notebook. And the main thing is, if you scroll down, you're going to see the link to the snapshot of the studio. That's the one you can access. So let me click on that. And that opens up the pipeline. Pipeline runs, I should say. And you can see more details here. So if you click on the glasses here, you're going to see the notebook itself. So let me scroll down and see what's happened. As you can see, it tells you to come and take how long and all of that. And also, if you had any errors, you will be seeing them as well. I would say if there are any issues, this is how you come and look at the issues. But here everything is run through successfully. So there is nothing for us to go and fix. Also, you can look at the Spark application that runs. Say you can come here and you should be able to see what happened. Click on that and you will be able to look at the job execution and all of that information as well. And the other thing is actually, we may want to look at the pool. The pool might still be allocated with that cores because it's still waiting to free them up. As you know, we configured to release the cores after 5 minutes of inactivity. So it'll take a couple of minutes and then it will release the cores as well. So let me go back to the other tab where we were working on the pipeline. So let me close that one. And just for completeness, I'm going to add this pipeline to the execute all pipeline. So when the trigger runs, it's going to execute everything. So as you know, we already have the silver table as well as the gold trip data green, but we just have to have another activity to execute our new pipeline. So I'm going to simply copy this and then paste it here. It's just making a copy of that. And again, this is going to be dependent on these two pipelines because we need the silver to execute before we can execute our gold pipelines. We only need the trip data for this one. So I'm going to just delete that dependency on the silver tables and just make it dependent on just the trip data green, and here I'm going to change the name of the activity first, and that's going to be AGG, and we also want to invoke a different pipeline, not the gold data. Green, we want to invoke the gold to update the green. So that's everything we need to do. I'm going to just click on Publish All, and that would save all our changes. And that's the end of this session. I'll see you in the next one.